We are live. It looks like I'm not recording this locally because it looks like my the drive is full on the Video Pro, so I got to go through and delete some shows. It automatically records the shows as I stream, but when that SD card gets full, you can guess what happens. Okay, so let's go back here and refresh and find this show. Starting a little late today, I had some appointments that I had to deal with, and I wasn't going to do a broadcast today at all, but there are a few things to talk about. Let me just pause this. Oh, one thing I did want to test at some point is if I play the audio on the computer, if it plays through. I don't remember if I have the settings set for that to play through or not. So, Craig, what the heck happened yesterday? We had a live stream yesterday. We had two. We had this little chat live stream that we're doing now, this sort of thing. And then we also had the Cowgirls live show at 10 o'clock, USA Eastern Time. So that's what the heck happened yesterday. By the way, this is a Brooks Brothers shirt, French cuffs, and you can see that you can have a French cuff shirt that's a little more casual. You know, this is stripes. It's a pattern. It's, you know, just a little more casual, but you can still go with the French cuffs if you want to do it that way. You know, one of the cool things about wintertime is it's a time when you can, you know, wear a camel hair sport coat or a cashmere sport coat or even a top coat or whatever. You know, you can dress a little bit more when it's cold weather, right? I'm wearing the gold stunner, wore it all day today, and I'll tell you, it's really a joy to wear. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. It came up in the chat the other day about wearing gold watches and how fragile they are. And somebody said that Paul Pluta, Archie Luxury, said that his gold, I don't know if it was a Submariner or whatever, was like chocolate, you know, it was so soft and all this stuff. I mean, that's a bunch of malarkey. Solid gold watches hold up fine. If you get a little ding on your solid gold watch, it doesn't matter, doesn't hurt it. It just gives it character. They just get a patina after years of use. They just look gorgeous. I mean, yeah, I guess you could really bang one and really try to gouge it or something, but in 40 years of wearing 18 karat gold Rolexes, primarily date 8s, I never had a problem. Mine always looked great. This watch looks great. Of course, I haven't been wearing it that long, but this watch is, I think, about 10 years old. I think it's actually 8 years old. I think it was made in 2010. So, and it's been used. It's been worn. I mean, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a safe queen by the previous owner. So, is that a ecru colored dress shirt underneath? I'm not sure what you would call this. This is a Brooks Brothers. It's got alternating. It almost looks like a pale gray and like a real pale green or something. Colors look pretty correct on my monitor that I'm monitoring the broadcast on. Brooks Brothers makes some nice shirts. They you know, nice earth tone type things. I mean, kind of are very versatile, kind of go with a lot of things. This is a gray jacket, so of course almost anything will go with that. Again, you just kind of lay it down, lay the jacket down, put the shirt in, put the tie with it, and you can kind of tell if everything's going to go. Gray stripes threw me off a bit. Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what color this is, but Brooks Brothers, you know, they do a pretty good job. They don't put out a lot of junk. So there's that. And this is one of the ones that was made in the USA back in the day. So it says made in USA inside. I would hesitate to buy the newer ones that are made in Malaysia or wherever the heck they're making them now. If I had my choice and I was buying today, I would try to buy really high quality vintage stuff that was made in the USA. I'm just a big fan of that. Of course, I had the benefit of having bought many back in the day when they were making them in the USA, so I pretty much have a lifetime supply. Of course, I bought those 2 new shirts the other day, those Gitman Brothers shirts, which I absolutely didn't need. But sometimes I just buy something because I want to show support, and I want to support those guys. They're making them in Pennsylvania, so I like to support them. I brought up the Pluto question. It was a pre-ceramic Submariner Blue Dial. Yeah, Brian, I mean, that's a perfect example. Just wear a watch like that. Wear the watch and enjoy it. You know, if you stretch to buy a high-end watch, you spend a lot of money on a high-end watch, and I don't care what your income range is. A gold Rolex is a big purchase. I guess if you're a billionaire, it's not. If you're a billionaire, it's like a cup of coffee to us, right? But no, I haven't tried the Omegas yet. When I get out there, trust me, I'm going to try them. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to shoot a bunch of videos. It may not be for a couple of weeks, though. You just got to figure out a time to get over there to Steve's and see him. And I want to go when he's got the Grand Seiko display finished. And he doesn't have that finished yet. He's putting in a whole new Grand Seiko display. So I want to see that. But I will, trust me, I'm going to check them out. I'm going to look at them real close because I have more news. Eric, the subscriber that got a good deal on an entry-level spring drive Grand Seiko, the one that jumped like 8 seconds or something in one day, he had it do it again. So he might have a problem. He might have a problem. And I asked him if he has the warranty card, the correct original warranty card, and he thinks he does. So I said, you can probably get it fixed under warranty because it was just sold new in October. And he says he might not want to do that. He might want to just return it. It's a shame because he got a heck of a buy on it. I wonder if that's why he got the buy on it. But anyway, I suggested that he let it run down completely and then restart it and see if that corrects the problem. That's the only thing I could think of as trying. Hi, Craig. I'm a new subscriber. Well, welcome. Good. You make up for the guy that says he was canceling his subscription. Did you see Archie's new video on the MVMT Alpha M controversy? So what are your thoughts? No, I don't think I've seen that one. Can you give us a quick heads up in the chat as to what it was about? Give us a quick little summation. Okay. Sorry about the above mistakes. Just bought the Omega Aquaterra 41. I love it. Traded in my Tudor North Flat. Good move. Good move. Aquaterra 41, and you got rid of a Tudor. All right. 2 thumbs up on that move. That was a good move. I'm going to drink to that. Okay, Eric is getting rid of the Grand Seiko. I don't know yet. I don't think he's made a final decision. No way they're going to charge him for the repair. No way. I wouldn't think they would. I would think that he could get that fixed. All right, let's do a time check. There's my puppy. My puppy is rock solid, just running just like the day I got it and just spot on. So I've never had a problem with mine. I got a good one. Now let me focus this in a little bit more. Jerking the whole table around. See here. Okay, that's pretty close. Let me let that settle in. I hate it when I shake the table like that. This whole setup is designed to be portable, so the table's very lightweight. So it's easy to shake, rattle, and roll. Yeah, never trust the Japanese. That's why the UN goes into combat zones using Land Cruisers. Toyota Land Cruisers are all that. I mean, they are no joke. I mean, the Land Rover used to be king of the hill, right? And then everybody started using Land Cruisers because they were more reliable. I was referring to Bob's comment. Okay. Pat, congrats on the Omega. Hell yeah. The Grand Seiko is running 4 seconds fast today. Oh, boy. It's always got to be somebody. I'm looking at my computer right here, and it is very close to spot on with my computer. So I don't know what you're timing it off of, but based on my computer, it's very close to spot on. And then the gold stunner, the gold stunner here is also right there. I mean, just right on time. Okay. Teddy asked Archie to make an emergency video to use in his interview with Alpha M, the guy who said MVMT is better than Rolex. Archie got angry because Teddy didn't end up using his video. Okay. Hey, Mr. Shipp, should I get the Seiko Alpinist or the Seiko SKX009? I like the Alpinist from what I've seen of it. Let me check out again the 009 just to make sure I'm talking about the right watches here. But I think either one is going to be a good bet from what I recall. But let me just double check here. I like to go here with what I'm doing here. Yeah, that's sort of like their diver watch. That's pretty famous. I had one of those at one point. They're, some places they're around $200. Yeah, and you can get it with the Jubilee bracelet also, but you can also get it and get an aftermarket strap code bracelet. That might be the way to go. Get it as cheap as you can on like a rubber strap, and then get a strap code bracelet. So that's going to depend, the Alpinist or that. It's going to depend, do you really want a diver's watch? I mean, if you want a diver's watch, go for it. Go for the 009. Don't waste your money on low price Seikos. Save up and buy a GS. Yeah, but he might not be, he might not be looking to spend that much money on a GS. That's the issue. If you can wait, I don't know, maybe even 5 seconds fast today might need a service. Yeah, it's going to be a cold day, and you know what? When my watch gets serviced, it's not going to get serviced. I'll put it this way: if one of my watches acts up, it's gone, out of here. I do not go for lack of reliability on my watches. My watches need to be spot on reliable. I'm totally spoiled now with like dead on reliable accuracy. That's why if I do get rid of my diver at some point because it craps out or otherwise gives trouble, that would be the only reason I'd get rid of it. If it gives trouble. If it gives trouble, it's gone. No ifs, ands, or buts. My watch gives trouble, it is gone. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 out of here, right? So if it does, my next watch might be the GMT with the 9F movement. That is looking intriguing. They got a couple models, I think, out now. Okay, I don't know. Okay. If you don't want to lose time, I'd hate to say it, but just buy a quartz movement. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the 9F quartz. I don't know if I'd buy one of those lower line ones, but maybe I would buy a lower line Seiko quartz. I would entertain it. Absolutely. Alpinist is one ugly watch. Oh, okay. The Alpinist is much more expensive in 38 millimeter versus 42. My friend has both, and he loves the Alpinist more. He wears it on a Super Oyster. Yeah, that would be very interesting. I like those strap code. I like those strap code bracelets. I've heard from what I've heard, they're really good. SKX models keep going up. Last year, $169, over $200. The K version is less than the J version. Good morning, Vietnam. Play Craig. What is your opinion on buying a solid gold watch with solid gold bracelet other than Rolex brand? Thank you. That is a very good question. I've seen some of the gold Omegas, all gold Omegas, and I don't know. It is very hard to beat, for example, a date with the President bracelet. It is very hard to beat that if you want to go all gold. I mean, that is a hell of a watch, and you can buy them reasonably depending on how old you go. Excuse me. I mean, you can buy a President for around $10,000. Might have a little stretch in the bracelet, but it's really hard to buy. For example, you go with a Patek Philippe, it's going to be really expensive with the gold bracelet. And I don't think they're that heavy duty. And some of them don't even have screw down crowns. I think that you almost have to go with a gold Rolex if you want all gold, including the bracelet. Let me know in the chat what you all think. Are there any other options for them? There's a couple of Omegas out there, but from what I've seen of them, I don't think they're as impressive as a Date 8, for example, or a solid gold sub if you want to go with for like a diver's watch. I don't think they're as impressive, and they're not that cheap, really. Do you think a gold Rolex is better than a platinum Rolex? Yes, absolutely. If I want it, I want yellow 18-karat gold. It looks, see how it looks? See how it catches the light? I mean, there's just something about yellow 18-karat gold that just eat completely up with class. Just eat up with class. Do not service faulty watches. Bend them. There you go. Yeah, I don't put up with poor performance on my watches. I never have, and I never will. I sure wish I could afford a Seiko spring drive watch. You mean Grand Seiko? Yeah. I hear you. That's how I do the low price Seikos. I own SKX007 and a Turtle. I have the new larger Jubilee bands, and the movement is easy to adjust at the price. I own a $100 time graph. Okay, there we go. Which is better, SOCO or Seiko? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Seiko. It takes me about 1/2 hour to time it to a second or two a day. There you go. Yes, the strap code bands are superior. They do not disappoint. There you go. And I think they have a high-end one. They have different quality levels as well. Archie Luxury said he talked to Rolex AD and said Rolex is slowing production of steel sport watches, so I don't see an end to the Rolex bubble. Yeah, it's going to come. The end is going to come. They're already softening. And the fact that they're slowing down production just means that they see it coming, and they're not going to be able to turn this thing around. This is going to not end well for people that own multiple steel watches that were speculators, that were, quote, investors. I heard somebody else use the term investment today. Oh, it was shoes. I was watching a video about high-end bespoke shoes, and this guy said, well, if you're going to invest in a pair of shoes like this, I felt like saying, why does everybody use the word invest improperly? You do not invest in bespoke shoes and custom-made shoes. You buy them, and then you wear them out, and that's it. They're not an investment. They're not going to make you money. They're not going to go up in value. They're not, you're going to wear them out eventually. Eventually, they're going to be worth next to nothing. You'll put them on eBay, and you'll be lucky if you get $50 for them. A pair of shoes you paid $3,000 for, or $4,000, or whatever you paid for them, right? They're not an investment. I keep hearing these people, you invest in high quality bespoke suits, handmade suits. The guy spends 80 hours making a suit for you, right? And the suit's $5,000. And that's not an investment. That thing is going to be worth diddly squat 2 years down the road. What are you going to sell a used suit for? But they use the term invest. Okay, that's my rant for the day about investing in things. Okay. I would only get a solid gold Rolex. A gold Rolex is iconic. Absolutely. But I'll tell you what, this puppy here is pretty much all that. And for dress purposes, if you buy this or a Patek Philippe on a leather strap, right? Yeah, that's. But if you want all gold, you don't want a leather strap, I think you've almost got to go Rolex. The best watch I've ever seen. Okay. Date 836 in the house. There you go. Gold sub / Daytona over any Nautilus. Absolutely. But I wouldn't go the Daytona route. I'd just get the Submariner and be done with it. Get the gold sub. But get a pre-ceramic. I don't like the new case. If you want to buy a new Rolex, I would buy a Date 8, probably a 36. I wanted to like the 40. I went and I looked at the 40. I really wanted to like it, but I just think it's too big and clunky. Craig, if I were to get a Date 8, which one would be the one to get? Well, we just talked about that. I think I like the 36 mil. What size waist do you have, Durr? Give me the waist. Give me the size wrist you have. That'll help. Patek Nautilus and yellow gold, best gold sports watch. No, the Nautilus is no. I wouldn't even call that a sport watch. A Rolex is a real sport watch. I wouldn't call a Patek Nautilus a sport watch. I wouldn't beat that watch around. I beat around my sport watches. I don't baby them. I would buy a Rolex way before I would buy that Nautilus. That Nautilus, first of all, it's ugly. Is it possible to get a 14-karat gold watch for under $2,000? You can get these for about, not under, I don't think, maybe about $2,300 with the gold face, the gold dial. This has the ivory dial. They go for a little more. I paid $3,200 for this. I think you can buy some older Omegas. Go on eBay and search 18-karat gold watch and see what you find. Now, be careful because some of them might have a stainless steel back or something. You want 18-karat solid gold all the way through and through. You'd be surprised. You will find some for around the $2,000, maybe even a little less price range. Be careful that it is in good shape and that, it's not a Franken watch and, all those issues. I would buy a solid gold Rolex sport watch over a stainless Royal Oak or Patek Nautilus every day. Buy the reliable gold watch over the delicate stainless. Absolutely, Brian. I heard Seiko makes some decent solid gold watches. I'll be on the lookout. Seiko. Okay. Totally agree. When spending that kind of money, I would want everyone in the room to notice it and be wowed every time. Look at it. Well, you buy a Date 8, and trust me, they notice it. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. Durr. I think a 36 mil Date 8 would work great with you. Because my wrist is between 7.25 inches and 7.5, depending on the time of the year. And the 36 mil Date 8 is stunning. It is stunning. Did I say it is stunning? Full stop. Nautilus and Royal Oaks are dress watches in disguise. Their movements are fragile as hell. Well, there you go. That's interesting information. I wouldn't doubt it. The Submariner is likely more easily recognized than a Nautilus or Royal Oak as well. Most rappers seen wearing Royal Oaks have them covered in diamonds until they are unrecognizable. How do you spell carat again? Trying to Google now. 18 carat. Just put 18K. You don't have to spell out carat. Just put 18K. The RO and Nautilus are dress watches in drag, marketed towards those who like sport watches. An integrated bracelet and a JLC dress watch movement do not belong on truth. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how these so-called watch people are spending all this money on these ugly, useless watches. It doesn't. I don't understand. I mean, you got to actually wear these things in public, for God's sakes. What are the people thinking? I wouldn't go out in public with one of those watches on. I grant that they're thin. That is an advantage. You can wear it as a dress watch. They are thin. But I think there are much better options out there for a dress watch, and I think there are much better options for a sport watch. It's not the good choice for either. It's not the best choice for a dress watch, and it's certainly not the best choice for a sport watch, not even close. Your opinion on diamonds on watches, I would skip that. I'd skip the diamonds, personally. Most of them are into Patek nowadays. Iced out Nautiluses are everywhere. Go watch the Hodinkee Talking Watches episode with proof of how money doesn't buy class. Got that right. Thoughts on Bitcoin dropping to 3,500 from 6,000 is a good time to buy from this. We talked about that yesterday. I think there's more downside. I think that this bear market could go on for quite a while, maybe even a year. I mean, it could. Sometimes these bear markets just drag on a long time. If you look at the historic record, sometimes they drag on for quite a while. So I do have some cash on the sidelines that I might buy some more Bitcoin if it gets down to around 1,000 or 1,200, somewhere in that range. I would be tempted to buy some more. But as of now, I'm just holding everything I have until at least 2024. At least 2024. I'm a long-term holder of Bitcoin. I don't do the short-term thing. But I might add to my position a little bit, a couple of Bitcoin here and there. If it gets down to around 1,000 or 1,200, I might buy another couple dozen Bitcoin, actually, if it gets down to 1,000. Increase my position a little bit. This is the time when the weak hands are shaken out, shaken loose, and the money is transferred from those with weak hands to those with strong hands. That's what we're going through right now. There's just a transfer of wealth. All the idiots that climbed on last fall and paid too much, they're all panicking now and selling their Bitcoin, to people that are going to hold it until it goes back up again. That's what the sheep do. They buy high and sell low. They're good at that. Okay. I love the I guess you mean rose gold, rainbow Daytona. I don't like rose gold myself. I'm not a fan of that because then it might not match other gold items that you have. I like everything to match. Like if I've got a pen that's gold and a watch that's gold. Oh, how do I show that? I like them to match, kind of, right? And if they're not all yellow gold, they're not going to match. Like my money clip is also yellow gold. Everything's yellow gold, so that way everything matches. It just makes life easier. I like life to be easier. Jay-Z has moved on from AP to Richard Mille. Post Malone still raps about his Royal Oak offshore gold is a rich athlete's watch. Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting to see if Bitcoin survives. At some point, the government might try to do a 51% attack. The U.S. government, for example, or somebody, might try to muster up enough computer power. It'll take a lot of power for them to do it. They might try to do an attack and try to destroy it. I don't think they're going to do it, though, because I think that they should have done it like 5 years ago. It would have been a lot easier. Now they've letting it get to the point where it would be much harder to do it, and it would be found out that they were doing it. And I don't know. It might survive. If it survives, and if adoption starts, if it starts really getting adopted around the world, it could be an amazing thing. I mean, that's why I bought in years ago, because I just liked the concept. I thought maybe it would be a really cool thing to have happen. Have a really ironclad, solid money supply that cannot be manipulated, cannot be increased, that it's a fixed amount. I like the whole concept of it. That is, security-wise, that is super robust, that can't be hacked. I mean, Bitcoin in 10 years has never been hacked. Can you imagine how they could have built something so secure? But it is so freaking secure. That whole concept, that is very intriguing. Let's see. Still have a day date or just 2 days? Yes, I still have the day date, and I'm not planning on selling it right now or anytime soon. I've only had the GSs for 6 months, the diver's watch, the dress watch, about 3 months or so. So maybe after a year, after I've had GSs for like a year, and I'm absolutely positive that they're going to be good long term, then I might think about getting rid of the day date. But I don't do things hastily. I'm methodical about things. And so, I wouldn't want to sell the day date and then 3 months later realize, oh, well, I've got a problem with this diver's watch or whatever. Maybe it starts doing something like Eric's is doing or something, That would be a big problem. So I don't want to be hasty here. I'm just being honest. So far, my diver has been bulletproof reliable. I've been extremely impressed with it. Post Malone wears a Patek Aquanaut. I think we lost Craig. Oh, wait. No, I'm still live. Okay. I think we lost Craig discussing what watches rappers with more cash than common sense are wearing. I don't follow the rappers, but I don't care. You guys can talk about whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't surprise me that they would be buying stuff like that. They have no taste. How about matching belt with shoes? That is something that a lot of people in hoodies do not think of. How about the watch band, brown with brown, black with black shoes and belt, Seiko for all? Jeff, here's the thing. I was wearing brown shoes today because I was wearing khaki pants. And so this dark leather, brown leather strap looks fine with that. But I would wear a dark brown crocodile. This is alligator, I guess. A dark brown alligator with black shoes. It wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't think twice about doing that. It's close enough. I wouldn't wear like a light brown or something like that. First of all, that'd be ugly, like a tan or something. No, I wouldn't do that. But the dark brown, it's going to look good even with black. That's a nitpicky type thing. You obviously you could change it to black if you wanted to go through the trouble of changing it each time. But now, as far as the belt goes, I absolutely wear a brown belt with brown shoes and a black belt with black shoes. They don't have to be well, black is black, pretty much black, but the brown, like for example, the belt could be like a medium brown, and the shoes could be a darker brown. That would be fine. I would have no problem at all with that. Like today, my belt was a little bit lighter than the shoes, but it was close, and that's fine. But I always wear alligator or crocodile belts. I just like them. And so there's that. He has an iced out Nautilus. Okay, never sell day date. It really cannot be replaced. Well, Jeff, I can go into an AD and buy a new day date. Trust me. Trust me, they'll sell me one. Now, if you're saying my particular watch can't be replaced, I mean, I could buy an 18238 used. I could probably buy an 18238 in really good condition used, but it wouldn't be one that I bought new. You're right. I couldn't duplicate that unless I was a time traveler. I'd have to go back to the year 2000 somehow and buy it again. That's the only way I could buy it new again. You're right about that. Attaching a bunch of diamonds all over a Patek Philippe Nautilus is the equivalent of beating a clown with an ugly stick. Oh boy, we're really letting these ugly watches have it again. I'm probably going to lose a couple of subscribers. I lost. This guy said he stopped subscribing, but then I noticed he was watching another one of my shows like a week later. But he said he canceled his subscription. Another guy the other day was giving me tips on how to not lose subscribers. And so I clicked through to his channel, and I noticed he's got 4 subscribers total. So I went ahead and subscribed to his channel. I think I was the 4th, actually. Why does Patek always have to put diamonds on their platinum watches? I didn't notice they did. I've seen some Pateks that were platinum that didn't have diamonds on the watch box when he does his. I like Tim's videos. Are the new ones built as well? The new day dates, by all accounts, are built better. These center links are solid. So that started in about 2000. Well, the model after my watch in mid-2000, they went to solid center links, and the President bracelet became solid. And then they changed the clasp design in about 2004, I think, or 2003, something like that. They went to the newer clasp, which was theoretically an upgrade. My clasp always works fine. I mean, I don't know why you need it, but so yeah, I think if anything, you could make the argument that it's improved. Of course, the 40 mil day date has the sleeves, the ceramic sleeves where the pins go through the bracelet, which supposedly has solved that problem with the bracelet wearing over time and stretching. Time will tell if it really solves the problem. But yeah, I think they've improved them over the years. I don't think they've gotten any worse, I'll put it that way. How important is it to dress well on a day-to-day basis? What do you do for a living? What is the climate like where you are? If it's hot, then you're not going to be wearing suits all the time, right? You're going to be sweating, and that would be not good. In the summertime, I will wear shorts sometimes. You know, I generally always wear nice shirts, but I'll sometimes wear shorts, and I'll certainly wear khaki pants and a button-down shirt and roll up the sleeves, right? And just an alligator belt, and that'll be it. I'll just go out, and that'll be all I'll have on. I won't have any jacket or anything because it'll be hot, right? So your question, it really depends on the climate where you are and also what you do, but I think that it's not a bad idea to dress a little bit nicer than the yamokes out there. give yourself a little bit of a competitive advantage. You know, that old book, Dress for Success, like 70 years ago, whenever the heck it came out. I know it was out when I was a kid, a long time ago. There's a lot of truth in that book, Dress for Success. People do judge you by your appearance. I mean, there's no getting around it. I mean, maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't, whatever, but they do judge you by your appearance. When I roll in and I'm wearing a tie, a nice shirt, nice jacket, they at least give me the time of day and at least talk to me. They don't just blow me off right away, right? If I'm doing like a cold call or something, or going in to try to sell somebody something, or whatever the hell it is I'm trying to do, trying to make something happen, right? They tend to give me a little bit more of their ear if they think that I might have my act halfway together. There's that. I'm an artist who works at home. Should I wear a suit every day? You know, I know people that dress at home. Absolutely. They dress for dinner and stuff. I mean, I don't. I just got back, so I'm still dressed. But after I finish this broadcast, I'm going to get in my casual clothes and just relax. I'm not going to be wearing this all night. But there are people that do. I guess whatever makes you happy. But no, I don't think just if you're just at home. I think just wear whatever makes you really comfortable. Craig is in a what do you mean by Macanini? What is that? What do you mean by that? Let me see here. I got to Google this because this is something new to me. Okay. Oh, I see that. Oh boy. No, I wear more than that because I've got it turned down to 62 degrees in here. So I wear more than that. Here's the thing. I already said that one of the reasons one of the ways I keep my expenses down is I've got the thermostat set at 62 degrees in here, and at night it goes down. It's 60. Okay, so that helps. It was cool in Sarasota today, and the Chooks were wearing hoodies with their jammies and house shoes when they were buying lottery scratch-offs. That must have been the style today. The opposite of a bikini, bro. Okay. Hi, Craig. I Googled it, Dan. I saw what it is, but yeah, no, I'll be wearing more than that. Hi, Craig. I'm from Oklahoma. All right. We showed some boots the other day. We had Clyde's from Oklahoma, I think. He was in the house. We showed him some Lucchese boots. Absolutely. Abso-positively-lutely. So, anyway, the theme of this whole thing was wear your gold watch. Don't baby it. Don't put it in the safe. Wear the damn thing. I mean, watches are made to be worn, okay? And enjoyed. And don't worry about it if you bang it against something or whatever. It's going to be fine. They hold up fine. Solid gold watches have always held up fine. Have you ever seen like an old pocket watch, an old gold pocket watch that's like 100 years old that just has a nice patina to it? And, you know, it still looks very elegant. Here's the thing. A gold watch, if it's banged up and dinged up and so on, it looks better than a steel watch that's also banged up and dinged up. In other words, it has more character and charm with the dings and all that, whereas the stainless steel one just looks like crap. You know, once it gets all scratched up, it just looks like crap, whereas the gold one still looks like, oh my God, that's gold, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's got some dings and stuff. It's still 18 karat freaking gold. As a matter of fact, you could make an argument that it's more impressive if it looks like you've worn it a lot. Like the day-date that Jack Nicklaus has, that he's worn for like 60 years or some sort of nonsense. It really looks cool. The way the bezel is, the fluted bezel's kind of like worn down, you know, because it's been like sliding up and underneath his shirt, back and forth, and the bezel's like kind of worn, kind of smooth almost. It really looks eat up with class. I mean, you know, can you imagine wearing a freaking date for like 60 years? I've worn them for 40 years, and that seems like a long freaking time. Um, let's find let's get a picture and pull that up of his watch, Jack Nicklaus's watch. Give me a second here. I'll find it. Jack Nicklaus. And I'm going to say Jack Nicklaus, date 8. And let's pull it up here. Talking Watches, Haneke with Jack Nicklaus. Yeah, this is when he talked about it in September of 2017. You guys should, if you guys haven't seen this video, you should check out this video. It's really cool. You can show me with a second. So there's the watch on his wrist. Oh, I'm going to play this and let me know if you guys hear the audio coming through. I want to see if I've got it set for that audio to come through or not. Oh, I got to turn it up. My mic down and let me. All right, I'm going to pause it again, and then I'm going to go back to the chat, and I want you guys to tell me if you heard any of that audio. Okay, I'm back, and just tell me if you heard any of that audio, and then I'm going to check the comments here again. There's a reason why a gold watch is 18 karat, not 24 karat. It's made into an alloy to be durable for day-to-day basis. Little scuffs on your gold watch indicate you are a badass to daily it. There you go, Brian. Same, your watch and eBay. They upped the price to $4,900. No, there's two of them. There's one that's almost like brand new. That's that price, but there's another one that's like around 3,800 or something. If you're talking about the gold Grand Seiko that I have on now, there's two of them for sale. Personally, because I've never owned a Rolex, the day I buy one will be pretty special. There you go, Dan. No audio, no audio, no audio. Nope. Okay. All right. So let me do an adjustment here. Go to my audio and audio HDMI 4. Whoops. My one. Uh-oh. I just better not screw that up. HDMI 1 level. All right. Oh, let me go back here. What the hell's going on? Get out of there. Go back to here. Okay. Now go into here. Okay. Now, number 4, it says it's on 60. Audio in. Make this 100. Why would it not have been playing if it was at level 60? Made it 100%. Audio in level 0. Mic level's 100. Master out level's 100. Audio follow is off. That should work. Okay, let's try again. Try again now. Let's go back. Go back to the computer. Go back to talking watches, and let's see if we can get any audio now. All right, I'm going to pause it, and then I'm going to come back. There's the watch. It's really freaking cool. See how it's worn? That is so freaking cool. All right, let me pause this. I'm going back to the chat. Let me know if you could hear it. No, still no audio. How would that be? HDMI, no audio, no round 2, no audio. Put it on 100% for input 4. All right, let me go back. See if there's any other setting I can change. Mic level 100%. That is weird. Bell should go through there. That's HDMI 4. Not sure what else I can do. Page 1. 2. Oh, let me go down here. Let's see here if there's another thing. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Let me see here. HDMI, equalizer low, delay. Let me go to the camera 3 so you got what camera 2 so you guys can see what I'm doing at least. This is kind of rude to be doing this during the live show, but I'm just trying to like to be able to figure this out. Let's see here. So HDMI play 3. Four. Here's 4. Audio in. Oh no, that's different. I swear I had that computer audio working before. Mic delay. Mic gate. Yeah, I got the gate on. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Page 9. Hell, got a lot of pages here. Crying out loud. Well, I think this is a no-go for now. I have to do some testing. I got the level at 100% on HDMI 4. HDMI in 4. Level is 100%. Why in the hell would that not work? Mic level is 100%. Master out level is 100%. By the way, HDMI 1, I don't need that on. Put that at 0. It doesn't need to be on. All right. All right. Well, that's it. We're not going to figure that out anytime soon. It's a shame because I'd like that to work, but it is what it is. What if you move your mic to the speaker? Well, yeah, that would work, but that's not what I'm trying to solve here. Craig, beer or liquid? Beer or liquid? And what's your favorite adult beverage? Beer or liquor? Okay, so I don't drink really anything alcoholic. I'll occasionally have maybe a little bit of wine with dinner, maybe. So my favorite beverage is probably fresh squeezed orange juice. Isn't that boring? Um, can we get a close-up of the GS again? It's more interesting than this. Oh, boy. Okay, the diver. Look at that secondhand. Can you imagine? I mean, that is borderline better than sex, watching that thing go around. I mean, look at that damn secondhand. Are you freaking kidding me? Back the truck up, load up a Grand Seiko. Load up a Grand Seiko spring drive in titanium. Are you freaking out of your freaking mind? Look at that. Amazing. That is just insane with a capital I. Insane with a capital I. Absolutely insane. Just play it loud and let your microphone pick it up. Hey, you guys can go watch the interview. I highly recommend that you watch that interview with Jack Nicholas. Nicholas. I'll put the link in the chat. It's really cool to see somebody who is a non-watch guy. He's not a watch guy, but he was given this watch by Rolex, and he wore it for a gazillion years. He might still be wearing it. He's going to auction it for charity. I don't know when that's going to happen. I think he's still wearing it. But anyway, it's so cool to hear him talk about wearing this watch all the time. The only time he took it off was when he was actually golfing. He put it in his golf bag. He had a little bag he put it in, and he put it in his golf bag. And then when he finished his round of golf, he immediately took it out and put it on his wrist. So anytime he like won a tournament or something and he's like holding up like a trophy, right, the watch is there, right, in the photo. I mean, you know, it is just his constant companion. He didn't baby it. He just wore it, right? Do a shot every time, Craig. Do a shot every time Craig bungles a word. Oh, you'll be drunk. You'll be laying on the floor in no time. Absolutely. You will be totally many sheets to the wind, as they say. All right, so that's what you do. You get yourself a really good watch at a young age, and you wear it your entire life. How cool is that he's basically done that? That his first watch was a date. He wasn't a watch guy. That was his first watch, and he's still wearing it. And what's he, probably like 70 years old now? How old is he? Let's find out how old he is. Jack Nicholas. Let's see how old Jack is. He was born in 1940. So he's 78 years old. and let's say he was 25 when he got it, he's been wearing that watch more than 50 freaking years. I mean, that's insane. That is super cool, if you ask me. That is a cool story. I'm more impressed by that than these yamokes that have like 15 watches in a watch case and never wear their watch and, you know, never go anywhere and you know, have this collection of watches. I'm more impressed by Jack Nicklaus and what he's done wearing that watch for all these freaking years. For a long time, I was reluctant to wear my 116610 LV because it's rare, but now I wear it every other day, swap with my no-date sub, and enjoy it more now with all the little scuffs and scratches. Absolutely. Moral of the story is the more I worried and babied it, the less I enjoyed it. Absolutely. You can't enjoy something like that if you're always worried about something happening to it. Craig, when the gold Seiko's battery goes dead, will you replace it yourself or go to a watchmaker? I will probably, if I'm in this area, I'll use that as an excuse and go visit Steve over at Little Treasury, and I'll have them do it, just because it's 4 screws on the back that you take loose, and they're little tiny screws, and they're 18 karat gold too. And I would not want to damage them, you know, either the slot on them or putting them back in, torque them too much or whatever. I'd want to be careful about that. So I'd probably have somebody who kind of knows what they're doing a little more than me. I could do it. I have precision screwdrivers and stuff. I'm sure I could do it. And I actually bought a couple of batteries. I have some extra batteries here that would fit it just in case. Like if I happen to be traveling or something and it's just not convenient for me to go to a good jeweler and have them do it, I'll probably do it myself, you know, if I'm pressed. But that'll be an interesting thing to decide at the time what I'm going to do. But I'll probably, at least the first time I have it done, I'll probably take it to Steve and watch him do it and all, and just make sure I would be completely comfortable with doing it myself. Because if I were to screw up one of those screws or something, I'd really feel bad about that. So, there's that. But I took the screws out, and about once a year or so, I would take a link out of the President bracelet on the date 8. So I had the little tiny screwdriver. So I took the screw out, and I think that's 18 karat gold. I think those screws are gold. They look like it to me. And I sized it and put the screw back in, and it worked fine. So I might be just overly cautious on that issue. So anyway, the questions and comments are coming slow, so I'm going to probably wrap up here pretty soon unless you all have something else to add. But I think it's almost a consensus here that I think people are agreeing that it's a good idea to just wear these watches and enjoy them. And that goes for anything. If you got high quality clothing, anything, enjoy. Because life, trust me, life goes by fast, okay? It goes fast. And as you get older, it goes faster and faster. And you're going to look back and you're going to say, well, man, why didn't I take more advantage of this? And why didn't I do that? And why didn't I, you're going to have regrets if you didn't take advantage. How did you deal with the scratches on the plexiglass crystals on your Rolexes? The older ones, a lot of I remember when they came out with the first ones with the sapphire crystal. And it was a big deal that they came out with the sapphire crystal because then we didn't have to worry about scratches anymore. But I had watches before that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. And it wasn't a big deal. You'd get a scratch here and there, but we didn't mess with them. Like, we didn't try to polish them out or anything like that. It just went with the territory. I remember I had one Submariner that had the red sub that had a fair number of scratches on the crystal, but it was still very readable and all that, and still very functional. When I sold it to Paul, it still had scratches on the crystal. So we didn't polish them out or mess with them or anything like that. We just wore the watches and used them. And back then, we had a lot of other things a lot of other concerns that we were worried about other than scratches on the crystal of the watch. You know, like whether or not we were going to go out with a redhead that night or a brunette or a blonde. That was the biggest decision that we had to worry about back in the day. Do you own a Speedmaster? No, I would not own a Speedmaster. I have no interest in a Speedmaster. Have you ever watched Rolex Submariner Story Time with Andrew St. Pierre? Yes, I saw him talk about his whole story about the Submariner. I've seen a lot of his videos. I'm a fan of his overland lifestyle and his videos and all that. I've done a lot of off-roading and stuff. And so I'm a fan anyway. And I noticed it. And it's interesting. He said that there's some times when he goes places where it's kind of a dicey situation where he'll take the watch off and put it in his pocket or whatever, right? I would be a little bit more concerned if I were him, as many remote places as he's going and all the traveling he's doing. I'd be a little bit more concerned about somebody trying to take that watch because he's pretty famous and people will know he has it. So he could be kind of a target. So that would be a little bit of a concern for me if I were him. I'd worry about somebody banging me on the head and taking that watch because in some of the places he goes, that watch is like a couple of years' wages. I mean, that is no joke in Africa, you know. The value of that watch as compared to their annual income. Have you ever had a El Primero? No, I've not. The only high-end watches I've had two Omegas. I had the 125th, yeah, it was 125th, 125th anniversary Omega, and then I had the Speedmaster 120. And then I've had a bunch of Rolexes. I'm trying to think what other high-end watches I've had. I think that's it. That and now the Grand Seikos, of course, but I think that's it. If you are so panicked about scratches on your Rolex, then you have too much time on your hands, and that is being squandered. Or your priorities need to be adjusted. I mean, you know, for example, if you're spending so much money on the watch, if it's such a stretch for you financially that you're, you know, like you're thinking of it as an investment and you want it to hold its value and all that, then I would suggest that you should not buy the watch, period. So what are your dishonest thoughts on Panerai? On Panerai, I've never seen one in person. I just don't like the design. I don't think it's an attractive watch. And so there are too many options for watches that are attractive that will do the same thing, like a pre-ceramic Submariner, for example. I'd much rather have that than the Panerai. I mean, why on earth would I buy the Panerai when I could buy a pre-ceramic sub? I mean, I can't think of a reason. So that's right there. Or any one of a number of Omegas I would rather have than the Panerai, that I think are more attractive watches than the Panerai. I just think it's an ugly watch. So that's the deal on that. If you could ever design your own watch, how would it look like? Okay, I've already told Steve what I would like. I would like a 38 mil watch that is the Snowflake in every regard. The Snowflake is 41 mil, the Grand Seiko Snowflake, right? Titanium is 41 mil. I want that same watch in 38 mil, but I don't want the Snowflake dial. I want a dial like the Explorer 1 on that watch. And then I would want micro adjustments on the clasp. So I would want the clasp that the GMT Master has. The Grand Seiko GMT Master has micro adjustments on it. I don't need the extension bracelet. I can get around without that. That'd be nice too. But I want the micro adjustments. So to me, and if we really want to go all the way, offer it in 18 karat gold also. Offer the watch in 18 karat gold, also with a black dial, with contrasting gold hands, 18 karat yellow gold hands, with loom. I don't want those pointy style hands. I want loom on the hands. That would be so fantastic a watch that you probably would never need another watch. You could wear that for sport, for dress, for everything. Oh, since it's going to be the ideal watch, it needs to be thinner too. It needs to be about, the Snowflake's about 12.5 millimeters thick, I think. Shave a millimeter off of that. Make it 11.5 mil thick, or maybe even 11. Look, we're going ideal here. Make it 10 mils thick. 10 mils thick, 38 millimeter. Available either in 18 karat yellow gold or titanium, depending on your preference. Make it available both ways. Put micro adjustments in the bracelet, same bracelet, but put micro adjustments in it. And that would be fantastic. Can you imagine? You'd have the looks, the beauty of a high-end 18 karat gold watch, yet you'd have the accuracy of a spring drive. You'd have the comfort on wrist of the bracelet, you know, that Grand Seiko makes. It's super comfortable. I would go for the 18 karat gold Snowflake. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but make it 38 mil. The 41 is a little bit big for an all-around watch to wear for dress and everything, right? And make it thinner. By the way, you can do away with the display back. I don't need the display back. That'll make it a little thinner right there. That shaves off about 0.5 millimeter right there, right? So make it a little thinner. And you can make the case, it wouldn't break my feelings if you make the case even a little more fluid than the Snowflake is. The Snowflake's already got a nice shape to it, but make it even a little more rounded, a little sexier, like the Date 8 case, like the Oyster case on the old Date 8s. You know, really nice, fluid, smooth. My God, you could design the perfect watch. You wouldn't have to do that much. I'm not asking for that much here, folks. And it would be a watch that you can't get anywhere else. It's not available. And it would be just absolutely stunning. When you shoot your wrist like that and you got that puppy on it, can you imagine what that would look like? I mean, forget about it. What do you think Rolex has in store for Baselworld 2019? Not much. They don't shock anybody. I'll tell you what would shock is if they would come out with a Date 8, a 36 mil Date 8 with all the upgrades of the 40 mil. So it's got the ceramic sleeves and the bracelet and all that, but it has a Grand Seiko spring drive in it, licensed by Grand Seiko. Licensed from Grand Seiko, right? I'm sure Grand Seiko would be happy to license it, the technology to them. You know, they pay like $1,000 or something per movement or something and license it. Can you imagine how cool that watch would be? A freaking Rolex Date 8 with the spring drive, with this movement, with a second hand going around like that on a freaking Date 8? Are you kidding me? I mean, what the hell else in the world would you ever need other than that? Tell me in the chat what you would need other than that. Rolex do the same stuff with different colors and metals. Yeah. Rolex hardly changes, just keeps raising their price. Yeah. And that's the thing. Omega has innovated with their movements and stuff. And I think they're leaving Rolex behind a little bit. I think their movements are more durable, longer lasting, because of the way the escapement's designed. I think they're more accurate, although Rolex has upped their game on accuracy too. But I think Omega has gone even more up there. Do you need a battery for the spring drive? No, you don't. You don't need a battery. The spring drive is really amazing in that it's almost a fully mechanical movement. The vast majority of it is a typical mechanical movement. Where the big difference is instead of having the normal escapement mechanism where it goes back and forth, click, 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 instead of having that, it has a glide wheel that spins in one direction constantly. It actually has two of them. One that I think generates electricity and another one that, anyway, I'm not sure exactly how the two work together. But basically, it has a spring that is wound by your movement, just like any auto wind, right? And that spring powers the glide wheel, which spins around, and it's a generator. It generates some electricity. That electricity activates an integrated circuit, which measures the oscillation on the quartz crystal. And then it has a magnetic brake that slows down the glide wheel to the correct speed. So in other words, it regulates the speed of the glide wheel without touching it. It's doing it magnetically, so there's no friction, right? And so it just slows it down to where it's right on time, accurate, dead accurate, right? If it didn't have that mechanism, the watch would be running fast all the time, right? So on a spring drive, when you first start it up, when you first wind it, the second hand goes real fast because the regulating mechanism hasn't kicked in yet, right? So it's going kind of fast, and then it goes like that for like 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden it just starts gliding along. And so the genius of it is there's less wear and tear because it doesn't have that escapement. And because of the way that the circuit is made, it's got very few parts involved. It's not like a typical quartz watch or something. It doesn't have as many parts. And so there's even less to go wrong. And because of the way the few components are constructed, they're very robust because it only has a few components to it. They make them very robust. So by all accounts, it'll probably run for 50 years without doing anything to it, without opening up the case. No battery, no capacitor in there to store energy, no energy storage devices at all in there. The only energy storage device is the mainspring that is wound by the movement of your wrist. That's it. So it really is ingenious the way the whole thing was put together and the way they worked everything out. Okay. Okay, Rolex can't sit and rely on their brand forever. They're going to get left behind if they don't start innovating. Yeah, but I don't know if they have to innovate because they've kind of got the market. They know how to sell watches. They know how to do the marketing and all that. So I don't know that they have to innovate. The sheeple will continue to buy no matter what, I think. Because remember, Grand Seiko is not advertising, so there's not like they have any competition that's really doing any sophisticated marketing. And I don't think Omega's that good at marketing either, by the way. Sure, they sponsored a few movies and stuff like that, but they're nothing compared to Rolex in the marketing department. Rolex is just all that when it comes to marketing. People still buy based on the brand. I don't think the people or Rolex care exactly. They're selling the image and status symbol. Exactly. Yeah. Fascinating. I do love the ticking sound of an automatic movement. You won't miss it. You'll love the smooth second hand even more. Every time you look at the watch, you see that second hand. And it's just mesmerizing. Not a microprocessor, a quartz oscillator. I think there is some kind of a very small integrated circuit in there that is kind of telling it what to do. I think it's more than just the quartz oscillator, but I think each component that's in there is very robust by all accounts, the people that are familiar with the situation. It's very robust. The magnetic brakes on the spring drive movements almost sound like a maglev train technology where magnetic fields control momentum. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not that complicated. I mean, you've got a wheel spinning, and you just put an electromagnetic brake on it, and you just give that energy to slow it down as needed and keep it going at the right speed. It really is genius. It really is, because of the lack of wear and tear that you would have with a normal escapement mechanism. I really should go to the local Grand Seiko store. Oh, yeah, you should look at them. See, touch, and feel them. Absolutely. So, surely a company like Rolex would be able to figure out how to make a watch that has spring drive. It took a long time for Seiko to get it right. You should read up on the development of that. And I'm sure there are some patents that are probably still in place, still in force. So Rolex would probably have to license it from Seiko, and I doubt they'd be willing to do that because, again, they don't really have to do that because Seiko's not a threat. Grand Seiko is not a threat to them because of the lack of marketing. And because the main reason is that the Grand Seiko can't make that many watches. They can't scale because there's so much handwork in their watches that they can't make that many watches to start with. So they wouldn't be able to compete with Rolex even if they could sell 800,000 watches a year, which is rumored what Rolex sells. Even if they could sell that many, they can't make them. They probably make 50,000 watches a year at the most. Maybe it's 20,000. I mean, it's a much, much lower number than what Rolex makes. And that's all they can make. They can't make a whole bunch more because they don't have the people. It takes really skilled people to make a Grand Seiko because of all the handwork that goes into them. It's not a machine-made watch like the Rolex. But it's a dangerous area to go to with more watches, more stores, and Harrods at walking distance. Okay, I'm not sure what that all means. Okay. Oh, you think he's going to see other watches? Now you get now. Once you see the Grand Seikos, you're not going to want those other watches. I have no idea about spring. Yeah, wait. You should look at some of the videos that really explain it. It's really amazing stuff. So the reason why the glide wheel spins in one direction and doesn't oscillate back and forth is there's no pallet fork to slam into the teeth on the gears. Well, see, it doesn't need a typical escapement, Brian, because the way the escapement works, that's the timing mechanism, basically. And what Grand Seiko's done is they've gotten rid of that timing mechanism, and they've put the glide wheel in, which is the timing mechanism, which spins in one direction, and then it's regulated by the magnetic brake, which slows it down to the proper speed so that the timing will be accurate, right? So it doesn't have to go in two directions. There's no need for it to go in two directions. So therefore, it's going to be much less wear and tear. It's going to be a much smoother, the whole thing is going to be a much smoother operation, literally, and therefore last longer and need less lubrication and need less maintenance and be a lot more accurate. So that's what's happening there. The demand is not there for GS to make any more watches than that. That's correct, because they're not advertising them. They're not pushing the watches. They're not, and they may not be capable of doing that. Who knows? But for whatever reasons, they're not aggressively selling the watches. And one of the main reasons probably is they can't make enough, even if they could sell a whole bunch. They can't make them. Now, they can make regular Seikos, and they do sell a lot of regular Seikos. I don't know what the production numbers are on those, but they can make them. They're machine-made watches. They can make as many of those as they want, but not the way Grand Seikos are made. You can't crank them out. The people are very talented, very skilled that make them. Watch the videos that show the place where they're made and all that. I don't even want to call it a factory because, you know, it's almost like a cottage industry-like thing. Tri-Synchro regulator essentially replaces the pallet, fork, and hairspring. It replaces the entire escapement mechanism, from what I understand. That's what it's replacing. All of that is gone and replaced with this gadget. Are spring drive movements relatively immune from external magnetic fields? That's a good question. The rating that they give them is typical of most. Like, for example, dive watches have to have a certain anti-magnetic to be qualified as a dive watch, and they meet that criteria. But Grand Seiko is known to understate a lot of things. So if they say it will resist magnetic fields up to a certain amount, it probably will resist even more. We don't really know. But the practical answer is I don't think anybody has any problems with these things being magnetized. I haven't heard of any problems with it. And I've never worried about any of my watches becoming magnetized. It's not like I set them down on magnets or anything. I mean, you know, I'm not that stupid, but, you know, and you can't, just getting them close to something that's got a magnet, that doesn't magnetize a watch. You pretty much have to set it down on something, or, you know, you have to really, really go for it, I think. How did you discover the Grand Seiko? I wore an SBDC 007, the Shogun, for a couple of years. I did a review on it here on the channel. I really loved that watch. And when I was researching for that review, I stumbled across a video by Arizona Fine Time. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, showing the spring drive diver's watch, which is what I ended up buying. And so I learned about it like 4 or 5 years ago. And then I never went and saw one because there wasn't a dealer anywhere near me. And then fast forward, you know, years later to 6 months ago, I learned about Steve's Grand Seiko dealer here in Gambrills, Maryland, about an hour and a half from me. And I decided I wanted to go over and finally take a look at them. And so I did. I went over there and I finally took a look at them. And I had since sold the SBDC 007, and I was actually wearing a rotation between the Apple Watch and the Date 8 was my 2-watch rotation. And I went over to look at the Grand Seikos, and I left there with the diver's watch on my wrist. I just couldn't leave without it. So that's how I discovered it. Grand Seiko's biggest downfall is Seiko. I don't think it's a downfall, because Seiko is the mass-produced watch for people that don't want to spend a lot of money, but they want to get a decent watch. And then Grand Seiko is their elite product for people that know watches and want something really special. I don't think they want to be the status symbol like Rolex is. I don't think that's their goal. I think their goal is just to make really good watches and to sell them to people that really appreciate those watches. And I don't think they could give a rat's rear end about being a status symbol. Because if you look at some of their events, they had an event in New York and all. I mean, it is not the way I would do an event if I wanted to be a status symbol. I mean, they had like executives from Grand Seiko there, guys from Japan, sitting there like singing karaoke that couldn't, couldn't sing a note, right? They're just having like a little party and having a good time. I mean, they didn't have like any celebrities there. I mean, they didn't look at Rolex. I mean, they're giving Rolexes to these, athletes like, who's that tennis player? Roger Federer. They give him Rolexes. They gave Nicholas the date 8. I mean, they go out of their way to make the watches something that celebrities have and that, are an iconic symbol of success and so on. I mean, the president bracelet, for God's sakes. I mean, that's their whole thing. That's their whole shtick, right? Grand Seiko isn't like that. Grand Seiko, their focus is just building really cool watches and taking their time doing it, and they're clueless. I mean, absolutely clueless when it comes to marketing. Trust me when I tell you, they are clueless when it comes to marketing. Okay? I'm always worried my watch will get magnetized when it's even close to my laptop. No, you don't have to worry about that. Hello from across the pond. It's late for you. It's a cultural statement to buy a GS of excellence, a display of excellence. Until relatively recently, they were not really displayed to the world outside of Japan. Correct. People say you can magnetize a watch from a cell phone. Probably if you set the watch down on it or something for a while, you might. I don't know. You'd have to do something like that. Why did you stop doing the funny Archie voice? It was funny. People said I wasn't very good at it. Seiko is the best bang for your buck in the industry. Seiko and Orient. There you go. Rolexes are for losers. Uh-oh. Seiko can make handmade, low-volume GS watches because cheaper watches make up the bulk of their sales. There is no need to sell millions of Grand Seikos to keep the lights on. Sure, correct. Plus, they can't. They can't get the labor. They're having trouble getting apprentices to train to do that work. I mean, that's skilled, meticulous work, and a lot of young people, even in Japan, don't want to do it. I admire Rolex as a business, but I regard them near the bottom as a watch manufacturer. Wow. An elite mathlete would say that Rolex is for losers. Continuous close proximity to a cell phone, for example, overnight, every night, within a few inches, will indeed cause the watch to become magnetized to a degree. It depends. Yeah, I wouldn't set it down on something. I think that's where your magnetism problems come, is when you set it on something for a period of time that you shouldn't set it on. Things like that will do a number on it, I think. But why would you do that? I think it would just not make a lot of sense to do that, I would think. First of all, have the damn watch on your wrist. I mean, that's step one. Citizen is also good for the money, also Japanese. I'd say Grand Seiko has the same reputation for quality as Dorklix. I'm not sure what that is. Going to get myself a Grand Seiko for Christmas. Still waiting for my Nomus Omega, probably arriving after Christmas. Okay. Far from the bottom, they're actually an incredible company. I guess you meant an incredible. They may not innovate as much as you like, but their brand equity and history is untouchable. Yeah, they built a hell of a brand, and they still make a good watch. It's a machine-made watch. I mean, if I didn't have the Grand Seikos right now, I would be wearing Rolexes, period. Full stop. That's it. So, and I don't wear junk. So, they're not a bad watch, but I wouldn't be wearing the new maxi case or whatever the hell they call that ugly case. I wouldn't be wearing that. I'd be wearing, for a diver's watch, for a sport watch, I'd probably be wearing a pre-ceramic GMT, probably like a mid-2000s or something, and I'd be wearing the 36 mil day date. That would be my rotation, those two watches, if I didn't have the Grand Seikos. And I'd be happy as could be. I would have no problem with that. If I didn't know about Grand Seiko and how accurate they are and all that, I'd still be happy with Rolexes. I just have become disenchanted because I've been spoiled by the Grand Seikos. And that diver is so damn comfortable. The titanium, are you kidding me? Let's do a check. Time check. I mean, that thing is just so comfortable. Sorry again about shaking the damn table, but that thing is just so freaking comfortable on wrist. It's a 44 mil watch that wears more like a 38 mil because of the lug design and everything, and because it's so lightweight because of the titanium. I mean, it's just got so many advantages over the Rolex that it's just not funny. It's not even a close call. You know what, Craig? You should look into the older Japanese-made bicycles. Japanese make quality items for the sake of making quality. They don't do it just for $1. Yeah, good point. I've got a Breezer bicycle that was made in California that I really like. I've got photos of it on my Flickr if you want to take a look. The Breezer. It's a really nice bike. If Rolex is for losers, then there are a lot of winners. There sure are a lot of winners wearing them. Okay. Japan makes better quality Fender guitars than America. In contrast to Seiko, Rolex only makes expensive watches. They need to aggressively market and mass produce their watches to keep their business going. There you go. I'd wear you, but whatever. Japan is all about craftsmanship. Japanese craftsmen from 10th century samurai swords to 21st century timepieces, tracing Grand Seiko's unbroken line of Japanese craftsmanship. Japan, Brian, Rolex really doesn't have to market or mass produce their watches to keep their business going. They don't have any stock and they aren't innovative at all and still hardest to get now. No, that's because of all the marketing they do. And trust me, they have to sell a lot of watches because they have a big overhead. Have you ever seen their facility, their complex that they have, and you ever see how many people they have working for them? They've got quite a nut to crack. They've got to sell some freaking watches to crack that nut. Love that glide. That's right. Who wouldn't? Was with Steve Jobs of his time. Hans Wilsdorf was Steve Jobs of his time. He knew how to make the most useful technologies and then package them into a single product to sell to consumer. Absolutely. He was sharp. Mr. Craig, I'm getting my first and only luxury watch. I'm currently looking at the Rolex Day-Date two-tone. I don't know what you're talking about there. I hope you're talking about the one that's like the Rollosaur or whatever. That was. They don't make a steel and gold Day-Date, just so you know. If you're looking at a steel and gold Day-Date, that's a fake. Jubilee, fluted bezel, golden dial. Would you, Mr. Craig, say it's a good choice? Again, if it's a real Day-Date, but I wouldn't get a two-tone. I would get a solid 18-karat yellow gold Day-Date and be happy with it. Do not pass go. That's a fantastic watch. If I was rich, I'd get a Creedor minute repeater. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. There's a GS you would rather direct me to. Thank you. You should just look at all the GSs and pick one that you really like. Take your time because it's a watch for a lifetime. It's a fantastic watch. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon, but let me just glide through these comments. The most expensive swords are from feudal Japan. Not sure how to spell that. Rolex's facilities look like they're NASA or something. It's insane. Yeah, and it's a big overhead. Long time ago. Scott, do you mean feudal Japan? Yes, Paul, thank you. There you go. How did we get into swords? They're just talking about quality. The Rolex sports bubble reminds me of San Francisco housing bubble. Deliberate starvation of stock by developers, oversaturation with the most expensive options, fueled by speculators. Yeah, but Brian, a lot of the housing situation there is because of regulations. They won't allow them to build, more homes. The regulations to build in San Francisco are just totally ridiculous, out of control. I mean, it's pretty much impossible to build like a new high-rise or something. Get a snowflake. Do not be a snowflake. Why do Rolex need facilities? It's all machine-made. You need a factory. Where do you think those machines are? They're in a factory. Oh, boy. All right, well, we're going to wrap up. This has been real, folks. This has been real. Remember, Cowgirls Live, Monday nights at 10. Thank you for those who came in. But Monday nights at 10, live on this channel, USA Eastern Time. Monday nights at 10 p.m., USA Eastern Time, is the Cowgirls Live show. Don't miss it. Why did you sell your snowflake cake? Also, is a buyer satisfied? And how much? $4,750. He loves it. He's a doctor down in Texas, and I really didn't need it because I had my sport watch covered with the diver, and I had my dress watch covered with this 18-karat gold stunner. So I didn't need it, and because it was surplus, I put it on the block. That's what I do with any surplus equipment that I have. It goes on the block, and it is gone. I do not collect things. I get rid of them if I don't need them. That's the way it works around here. Craig, if you were going to go to the moon and representing USA, what watch would you wear on the surface? Probably the Grand Seiko GMT with the 9F quartz movement in it. That's supposedly extremely rugged and can handle like extreme temperatures and all that kind of stuff. It's insane how rugged it is. So I would probably go with that. Thanks, Craig. Keep doing these. The Cowgirls sounds like for adult only. No, it's not. It's a family-friendly show. She's a nice young lady. She talks all about the cowgirl lifestyle. She did a great job in last night's show. I think she did a fantastic job. Maybe some folks that were there can chime in the chat and let me know what they thought about the show. She's getting better every week. This is just her second show last week. So stay tuned. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. And Sarah is doing great. And she is a for real cowgirl. This is no fake cowgirl. This is a real cowgirl, okay? Award-winning barrel racer. She races her horses around the barrels. She does it all over the country. She's won all kinds of awards. She's only 18 years old. She's been riding since she was like 12. She is no freaking joke. So anyway, Monday nights at 10 p.m. USA Eastern Time. Check it out. And Craig, can we get a yeehaw for Cowgirls Live? Yeehaw. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic show. All right, carry on, everybody. Do the right thing out there. That's what I say. Do the right thing.